Hi there, my name is Imran Ali. I'm the lead on the Safe Water Optimization Tool project. The Safe Water Optimization Tool, or the SWOT for short, is a new web-based data analytics tool that generates site-specific and evidence-based water chlorination targets for water systems in refugee and IDP camps. The SWOT helps humanitarian responders protect public health during emergencies by helping ensure water remains safe to drink up to the point of consumption in people's shelters. The SWOT unlocks life-preserving information and water quality monitoring data that is already regularly collected by humanitarian agencies and water supply projects. As emergency WASH practitioners ourselves, we built the SWOT to help overcome a major problem in refugee camp water safety we observed during a major hepatitis E outbreak in South Sudan. In these camps, we were using the existing water chlorination targets given in the SPHERE guidelines. But even when we achieved these targets at tap stands, when we went to refugee shelters where they were actually drinking the water, very often we found no detectable residual chlorine protection. In fact, there was also evidence found by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, that stored water in people's shelters was being fecally contaminated, all in the midst of a major waterborne disease outbreak. Now, this was incredibly concerning to us, so we did some digging, and we discovered that these FRC standards are not actually based on any field evidence from humanitarian settings. Instead, they're taken from the WHO guidelines for drinking water quality, which are meant for municipal pipe water systems in cities. Of course, in a city, people drink water directly from the tap in relatively hygienic settings, whereas in a refugee camp, people have to collect water from public distribution points from the tap stand, carry it through the camp back to their shelters, where they have to store and use that water for 24 hours or sometimes even longer, all in settings where environmental hygiene could be quite poor. So there are plenty of opportunities for recontamination to occur after water is collected. In fact, there are many reports of water being recontaminated after distribution, leading to the spread of waterborne disease amongst displaced populations. We presented our concerns about the SPHERE FRC guidelines as we observed in South Sudan in a report in the Bulletin of the World Health Organization. If you want to read more, you can find that paper by scanning the QR code with your phone. As we looked at this problem, we realized it could be compromising water safety in refugee and IDP camps all over the world. But this gave us an idea. Humanitarian agencies are regularly collecting water quality monitoring data in water supply projects all the time, including FRC data. There's potentially life-preserving information inside that monitoring data on how the residual chlorine protection degrades with time after water is collected from tap stands. If we could build analytics to help unlock this information and put them on the internet, field workers anywhere in the world could simply upload their FRC monitoring data and use it to generate a site-specific and evidence-based FRC target that helps ensure water remains chlorinated for the entire duration it is stored and used in people's shelters at that given site. This is a safe water optimization tool. The SWOT has two analytical engines under the hood for figuring out how much FRC needs to be at tap stands in order to provide adequate household protection. The first is based on numerical modeling of post-distribution chlorine decay, and the second is based on artificial neural networks, a machine learning approach. We have two research papers that will be out shortly in engineering research journals that describe and demonstrate these two analytical approaches. On the basis of these analytics, the SWOT generates a recommendation sent by email to field workers on how much chlorine they need to have at tap stands in order to ensure the water remains protected for a length of time that they specify based on local conditions. The SWOT also provides a clear overview of water quality at multiple project sites for managers at the country or the headquarters level. The SWOT requires no additional water quality monitoring equipment or personnel other than what would normally be in place in a water supply project. It simply requires a small reorganization of FRC monitoring to focus on both the tap stand and the household instead of just tap stands. The SWOT can generate a site-specific chlorination recommendation with just 100 to 150 paired tap stand household data points that can be collected in about 3 to 4 weeks of regular data collection. The SWOT chlorination recommendation adapts to changing conditions in the field as well, as field workers continue to monitor and upload water quality data. Now, we carried out a 6-month proof of concept pilot study of the SWOT with MSF at the Kudapalam Bulakali refugee site in Bangladesh. We did this in order to evaluate if the SWOT could improve household water safety outcomes compared to the status quo SPHERE guidelines. At Kudapalam, the SPHERE FRC target at Tapsan resulted in about 43% of sampled households having sufficient chlorine protection 15 hours later. On the other hand, the SWOT recommendation resulted in 85% of sampled households having sufficient chlorine protection 15 hours later. Overall, the Bangladesh pilot showed that implementing the SWOT FRC recommendation at tap stands would double the proportion of households having safe water at the point of consumption compared to the status quo SPHERE guidelines. In addition to the pilot at Bangladesh, we've also been carrying out remote implementations of the SWOT with MSF in Nigeria and with UNHCR and NRC in Tanzania. From these remote implementations, we've learned how to make the SWOT easier to use for field teams and how we can best support implementers remotely. After 18 months of development, prototyping, testing, and refining, version 1 of the SWOT goes live to the public on November 4th, 2020. And we're already working on version 2 for 2021. Version 2 will have new features to improve function and usability for field implementers, including rapid evaluation tools for chlorine, taste, and odor thresholds and for disinfection byproducts, a data visualization dashboard, report generation capabilities, and integration with mobile data collection platforms like Kobo. We are now seeking new implementing partners to use the SWOT in water systems in refugee and IDP camps. We're also interested in expanding to other kinds of water supply programs in which we want to demonstrate the utility of the SWOT, including in water trucking, medical facilities, intermittent water systems, household water treatment, and bucket and inline chlorination and hand pumps. We have a number of resources to support new partners using the SWOT. We have a suite of written guidance documents as well as online video tutorials. We also have a full-time staff support desk to help field teams with all aspects of the SWOT, from data collection to setting up Kobo surveys to implementing the chlorination recommendation in the water system, whatever they need. Our team is standing by to support field workers on using the SWOT. The SWOT is free to use for everyone and it's an open source software. Using it entails no additional cost beyond what is normally in place for water quality monitoring and emergencies. Using the SWOT can ultimately help field workers achieve the public health goal of emergency safe water supply, of having water protected and free of pathogens where people actually drink it. The SWOT is brought to you by the Davila Institute for Global Health Research at York University in partnership with MSF Médecins Sans Frontières. And the development of the SWOT is generously supported by HIF ULRA, the Acmea Foundation, and Grand Challenges Canada. For more information, you can reach us by email, web, or Twitter, and scanning the QR code with your phone will take you to our website. We hope to be able to work with you soon, and we look forward to any questions you might have. Thank you very much.